Good people are treated badly for one reason. They allow it. They stay quiet. They forgive. They tell themselves it's not worth it. And every time they do, they lose power. I used to believe being good meant accepting everything. I was wrong. What I was really doing was teaching people how far they could go with me. See, most people don't understand this. They think disrespect just happens, like bad weather, like accidents, something beyond their control. But that's not how it works. Disrespect is permission-based. Every time you stay silent, you grant permission. Every time you forgive without consequences, you grant permission. Every time you convince yourself it's not that serious, you're handing someone a map of your weaknesses, and they will use it. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. He watched rulers fall. He watched good men get destroyed by the very people they were kind to. He watched weakness get punished over and over. He finally wrote it down. Disrespect grows where resistance is absent. That line changed everything for me, because it means disrespect isn't something that happens to you. It's something that grows around you in the space you fail to defend, in the boundaries you don't enforce, in the silence you choose instead of confrontation. You are not a victim of disrespect. You are an enabler of it. That sounds harsh, I know, but it's also the truth that sets you free. Because if you created this situation, you can end it right now today by refusing to tolerate the 7 behaviors I'm about to show you. And I need you to understand something before we begin. This is not about being cruel. This is not about revenge. This is not about punishing people or holding grudges or becoming cold. This is about control. Control over your time. Control over your energy. Control over who has access to you and under what conditions they get it. Most people never take this control back. They hope things will change. They wait for others to suddenly develop respect. They believe kindness will eventually be rewarded. It won't, not unless you enforce it. Today, I'm breaking down 7 disrespectful behaviors you must never tolerate. Not because you're cruel, but because you value control. Each one of these behaviors is a test, and your response determines whether you keep your power or give it away. So pay attention and get ready to take back what's yours. I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. I demand respect. Let's begin. Number 1. Accepting lies. A lie is not small. There is no such thing as a harmless lie. When someone lies to you, they are making a calculation. They are deciding you are not worth the truth. They are testing whether you will notice. And if you do notice, they are testing whether you will say anything. Most people catch the lie. They feel it. That little voice in their head says that doesn't add up. But then something happens. They choose comfort over confrontation. They choose peace over power. Big mistake. Because when you ignore dishonesty, you send a message louder than words. I will accept manipulation. Think about what that means. You are teaching someone that lying to you works. You are showing them there are no consequences. You are opening the door for bigger lies, bolder lies, lies that will cost you more than just your pride. Machiavelli watched this pattern repeat throughout history. He saw advisors lie to kings. He saw kings lie to their people. And he noticed something critical. The lies only stopped when someone had the courage to call them out. Silence is expensive. It costs respect. Here's what most people don't realize. Confrontation doesn't have to be loud. You don't need to yell. You don't need drama. You just need clarity. The moment you calmly expose a lie, something powerful happens. The game changes instantly. Honest people adjust. They apologize. They explain. They course correct because they value the relationship more than the lie. Manipulators reveal themselves. They get defensive. They gaslight you. They make you feel crazy for noticing. They double down, or they disappear. Either way, power returns to you because now you know who you are dealing with. Now you have information. Now you can make decisions from a position of strength instead of confusion. But here's the thing. You have to do it the first time, not the third time. Not after you have gathered evidence. Not after you have consulted 3 friends about whether you are overreacting the first time. Because every lie you let slide makes the next one easier to tell. Every dishonest moment you ignore becomes permission for the next one. You are not keeping the peace. You are training a liar, and trained liars get comfortable. They get sloppy. They start lying about bigger things because the small lies worked so well. Don't wait for the perfect moment to address it. There is no perfect moment. There is only now or never. When you catch a lie, you address it simply. That's not true. Here's what actually happened. No aggression, no emotion, just facts. Watch what happens next. That reaction tells you everything you need to know about that person's character. Some people will respect you more for calling it out. Others will hate you for it. Let them hate you, because respect built on your silence is not respect at all. It's control. You don't need people in your life who require you to pretend you are stupid. You don't need relationships where honesty is optional. You deserve truth, not because you are perfect, but because you refuse to participate in your own deception. Number 2, emotional put-downs disguised as honesty. This behavior hides behind a smile. It sounds like jokes. It sounds like advice. It sounds like I'm just being real with you. But the result is always the same. You feel smaller after they speak. That is not honesty. That is dominance through doubt. Pay attention to how you feel after certain people talk to you. Not what they said, not whether they were technically right, how you feel. If you consistently feel diminished, questioned, or uncertain about yourself after interactions with someone, that is not an accident. That is strategy. These people are skilled. They know how to deliver an insult wrapped in concern. They know how to criticize you while making it seem like they care. They know exactly how to make you doubt yourself while appearing helpful. I'm just being honest is their shield. It protects them from accountability. Because how can you be mad at someone who is just trying to help? Easy. You recognize the pattern. Machiavelli warned against this exact tactic centuries ago. He wrote about advisors who would slowly break a ruler's confidence through helpful observations, small comments about their judgment, little questions about their decisions, subtle suggestions that maybe they were not as capable as they thought. Break confidence quietly, and control becomes easy. That is what is happening to you. Someone is chipping away at your certainty, and they are doing it in a way that makes you feel like you cannot complain without looking sensitive or defensive. Here's the difference between real honesty and emotional manipulation. Real honesty builds you up while being truthful. It says, here's what I noticed, and here's how I think you can improve. It offers solutions. It comes from a place of genuine support. Emotional put-downs tear you down while hiding behind truth. They say, I'm just saying what everyone is thinking. Or, don't get mad, I'm trying to help you. They offer criticism without solutions. They come from a place of control. You can feel the difference. Your gut knows. When someone gives you real feedback, even if it stings, you feel motivated. You feel like they see your potential. You feel challenged in a good way. When someone delivers an emotional put-down, you feel deflated. You feel attacked. You feel like you need to defend yourself or shrink to make them comfortable. Never tolerate language that reduces your certainty about yourself. The moment you recognize this pattern, you have 2 options. 1 warning, that is it. You pull them aside and you say clearly, I need you to speak to me with respect. If you have feedback, deliver it constructively. If you cannot do that, we are done talking. Some people will adjust. They did not realize how they sounded. They will apologize and change their approach. Others will get defensive. They will say, you are too sensitive. They will say you cannot handle the truth. Perfect. Now you know exactly who they are. Walk away without guilt, because people who refuse to speak to you with respect do not deserve access to you. Your confidence is not up for negotiation. Your self-worth is not a group decision, and you do not need anyone's permission to remove people who make you feel small. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I protect my peace. Number 3, ignoring boundaries. A boundary is a line in the sand. When someone crosses it, they are not confused. They are not mistaken. They did not forget. They are testing you. Boundaries are interesting because they reveal who people really are. Talk is cheap. Anyone can say they respect you, but boundaries show the truth. When you set a boundary, you are making a statement. This is what I will accept. This is where my limits are. This is the line you do not cross. And then you wait. You watch. You see what they do with that information. Some people honor it immediately. They might not like it. They might wish your boundary was different, but they respect it because they respect you. Others, they test it like a child testing a parent. They push just a little. They cross it accidentally. They act like they forgot. They make excuses. If nothing happens, the message becomes crystal clear. Your rules are optional, and optional rules are not rules at all. They are suggestions, preferences, things people follow when it is convenient and ignore when it is not. Machiavelli said, "Laws without punishment are useless." The same is true for boundaries. You can set 1,000 boundaries. You can communicate them perfectly. You can explain them with clarity and kindness. But if you do not enforce them, they mean nothing. Here's what enforcement looks like. One warning establishes authority. You see the boundary crossed, and you address it immediately. Not with anger, not with emotion, with clarity. You just crossed a boundary I set that cannot happen again. That is it. Simple, direct, clear. Now you watch their response. Do they apologize and adjust, or do they defend, deflect, or minimize? That response tells you everything, because the second violation is the moment of truth. They now know the boundary exists. They now know you noticed. They now know you communicated it clearly. If they cross it again, they are making a choice. They are choosing their comfort over your boundaries. They are choosing what they want over what you need. The second violation ends access. Not eventually, not after another conversation, not after you give them one more chance to understand. Now, you remove access. You create distance. You withdraw the relationship to whatever degree the boundary violation demands. Maybe that means no more one-on-one time. Maybe that means surface-level interactions only. Maybe that means no contact at all. The level of consequence should match the level of violation, but there must be a consequence. Anything else is weakness disguised as kindness. And here's what people do not tell you. Enforcing boundaries feels terrible at first. You will feel guilty. You will wonder if you are being too harsh. You will question whether you should give them another chance. Do not, because every time you let a boundary violation slide, you teach that person your boundaries are negotiable. You train them to push harder next time. You show them that persistence works. People respect those who protect their space. People take advantage of those who do not. Which one are you? Now I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. My boundaries matter. Number 4, letting people waste your time. When someone wastes your time repeatedly, they are not being careless. They are placing themselves above you. Think about the people in your life who are always late, always canceling, always making promises they do not keep, always creating delays that somehow only affect you. Notice a pattern. They manage to show up on time for things they care about. They keep commitments when it benefits them. They respect other people's schedules when those people have something they want. But with you, different story. With you, there is always traffic, always an emergency, always something that came up, always a reason why your time is the one that gets sacrificed. That is not bad luck. That is not coincidence. That is calculation. Late arrivals are a power move. When someone shows up late consistently, they are saying, "My time is worth more than yours. You will wait for me because I'm worth waiting for." Broken promises are a status signal. When someone commits to you and then backs out, they are saying, "Other things are more important than keeping my word to you." Endless delays are a control tactic. When someone keeps you waiting for decisions, responses, or follow-through, they are saying, "I move at my pace and you adjust to it." These are not mistakes, they are messages. And here's the part that hurts. They only do this because you let them. People who waste your time are reading the room. They see that there are no consequences. They notice you keep accepting their excuses. They watch you rearrange your schedule to accommodate theirs. And they learn that your time is negotiable. Want to know how someone really feels about you? Watch how they treat your time. People make time for what matters to them. They show up on time for what they value. They keep promises to people they respect. If someone consistently wastes your time, they are showing you exactly where you rank in their priorities. Believe them. You correct it once. Just once you say calmly, "I need you to respect my time." If you commit to something, I need you to follow through. If you are going to be late, I need advance notice. Otherwise, this doesn't work for me. Clear, direct, fair. Now, you watch what happens. Do they adjust their behavior, or do they make more excuses, more promises, more apologies that lead to the same pattern? If it continues, you withdraw. Not dramatically, not angrily. You just stop being available. They ask to meet. You are busy. They want your help. Your schedule is full. They need something. You cannot commit right now. You mirror back to them exactly what they showed you. That time is valuable, and not everyone gets unlimited access to it. Some people will notice the change and step up. They will realize they were taking you for granted, and they will fix it. Others will complain. They will call you cold. They will say you have changed. They will try to guilt you into going back to the old pattern. Let them complain, because people who respected your time never had this problem in the first place. People respect those who protect their time. People take advantage of those who do not. Drop this affirmation in the comments. My time is valuable. Number 5. Selective accountability. Watch carefully. They excuse their actions. They criticize yours. Nothing is ever their fault. Everything is always yours. This is not imbalance by accident. This is strategy. Selective accountability is one of the most damaging patterns you can allow in your life. It shows up in relationships, friendships, work environments, and family dynamics. Here's how it works. When they make a mistake, there are reasons. There is context. There are circumstances beyond their control. They were stressed. They were busy. They were going through something. You need to understand where they were coming from. When you make a mistake, there are no excuses. There is no context. There are no circumstances that matter. You should have known better. You should have tried harder. You should have been more aware. See the double standard. They get compassion. You get criticism. They get understanding. You get accountability. They get second chances. You get reminders of past failures. This creates a relationship where one person holds all the power and the other person holds all the blame. And the worst part, they make you feel like this is fair. They make you question yourself. They make you think maybe you are too sensitive, too demanding, too critical. You are not. Machiavelli warned that unequal rules create dominance. When one person plays by different rules than everyone else, they are not just being hypocritical. They are establishing hierarchy. They are placing themselves above accountability. They are placing you below it. And they are doing it so smoothly, you might not even notice until you're drowning in guilt for things that were never your fault. Here's how to spot this pattern. Pay attention to apologies. Do they apologize and actually change behavior, or do they apologize and repeat the same actions? Pay attention to blame distribution. When something goes wrong, who is responsible? Is it always you? Is it never them? Pay attention to standards. Are you held to expectations they do not meet themselves? Do they demand from you what they refuse to give? If the answer to these questions reveals imbalance, you are in a selectively accountable relationship and you need to get out. Not eventually, not after you try one more conversation, not after you give them another chance to see your perspective now. Because here's the truth. People who refuse equal accountability will never accept it. You can explain it perfectly. You can give examples. You can point out the exact moments where the standard shifted. They will still find a way to make it your fault. They will say you are keeping score. They will say you are bringing up the past. They will say you are being unfair by expecting them to meet the same standards they demand from you. The mental gymnastics are incredible. Do not waste your energy trying to convince them. Do not exhaust yourself trying to create balance in a relationship where one person benefits from the imbalance. Just leave. Walk away from people who will never hold themselves to the same standards they hold you to. Walk away from relationships where accountability only moves in one direction. Walk away from dynamics where you are always wrong and they are always justified. You deserve partnership, not dictatorship. You deserve fairness, not manipulation. You deserve equal accountability, not selective enforcement. Never stay where accountability only moves in one direction. I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. I deserve fairness. Number 6. Dismissing your standards. The moment you raise standards, resistance appears. You will be labeled difficult, cold, unreasonable, too much. That reaction is proof you are needed to be controlled. Standards are dangerous to people who benefit from your low expectations. When you decide you deserve better treatment, better communication, better effort, you threaten the comfortable dynamic they enjoyed. And they will fight back, not with honesty, not by admitting they do not want to meet your standards. They fight by attacking the standards themselves. They will say you are asking for too much. They will say nobody else has these requirements. They will say you are setting yourself up for loneliness because no one will ever measure up. They will make you the problem, not their unwillingness to rise to basic standards of respect. You for having standards in the first place. This is manipulation at its finest. Because here's the truth. They do not want you to realize your standards are not too high. Their effort is too low. You are not asking for perfection. You are asking for consistency. You are asking for respect. You are asking for the same energy you give to be returned to you. That is not unreasonable. That is baseline. But to someone who is getting away with less, baseline feels like a mountain. And instead of climbing it, they would rather convince you to come back down. Do not come back down. Standards remove access, and access is power. When you raise your standards, you are doing something powerful. You are saying not everyone gets to be close to me anymore. Not everyone gets my time, my energy, my presence. You have to earn it now. That statement terrifies people who were not earning it before. Suddenly they have to put in effort. Suddenly they have to be consistent. Suddenly they have to prove they value you instead of just assuming you will always be there. And for many people that is too much work. They would rather guilt you into lowering your standards than rise to meet them. Let them leave. Seriously. Let them go. Let them call you difficult on their way out. Let them tell other people you have changed. Let them paint themselves as victims of your unreasonable expectations. You do not need people in your life who view basic respect as an unreasonable expectation. You do not need relationships where consistency is considered too much to ask. You do not need anyone who makes you feel guilty for wanting what you deserve. Here's what happens when you hold your standards. The wrong people leave and the right people stay. The wrong people were never going to meet your standards anyway. They were always going to do the minimum. They were always going to make excuses. They were always going to blame you for expecting more. Good riddance. The right people will rise to meet you. They will appreciate your clarity. They will respect your boundaries. They will value the relationship enough to put in the effort it requires. Those are your people. Never lower standards to maintain comfort, because comfort built on low expectations is not peace. It is settling, and you were not built to settle. You were built to set the bar high and watch who is willing to reach it. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I raise the bar. Number 7. Testing you after you speak up. After you assert yourself, they will test you again quietly, subtly, carefully, not to cross the line completely, to see if it still exists. This moment decides everything. Here's what most people do not understand about boundaries. Setting them is only half the battle. The real war happens after you speak up, because people do not believe you the first time. They think you are bluffing. They think you are emotional. They think if they wait long enough, you will go back to accepting what you accepted before. So they test you. Maybe they show up late again, but just by 10 minutes instead of 30. Maybe they make one small dismissive comment instead of a full attack. Maybe they cross a boundary in a way that is just barely noticeable. They are checking. They are measuring. They are asking, did you really mean what you said, or can I still get away with this? Your response to this test determines the entire future of that relationship. If you let it pass, disrespect becomes permanent because now they know your words do not match your actions. They know you will talk about boundaries but not enforce them. They know you will speak up but eventually back down. And once they know that they own you, they will push further next time. They will cross bigger boundaries. They will disrespect you in more obvious ways because you taught them that consequences are not real. But if you enforce consequences, it ends right there in that moment. They test you by showing up late. You leave, you do not wait. You do not give them just this once. You leave and you let them know why. They test you with a dismissive comment. You address it immediately. We talked about this. You agreed to speak to me with respect. What you just said was not respectful. We are done here. They test you by ignoring a boundary. You withdraw access. No explanation needed. No second warning. Just distance. This is not cruelty. This is clarity. Because power is not declared, it is demonstrated. You can tell people all day long what you will and will not accept. You can set boundaries until you are exhausted. You can communicate your needs with perfect precision. None of it matters until you show them you meant it. Action is the only language that manipulators understand. Words are just noise to them. Promises are just sounds. Boundaries are just suggestions. But consequences are real. When you enforce a boundary after someone tests it, you send an unmistakable message. I meant what I said. Try me again and find out what happens. Most people will stop testing after that. They will realize you are serious. They will adjust their behavior because the cost of disrespecting you is now too high. The ones who do not stop, they remove themselves and you let them because the test was never about them. It was about you. It was about whether you value yourself enough to protect what you said matters. Do you? Here is the truth most people avoid. Disrespect is not forced on you. It is allowed. Every single behavior we talked about today exists in your life because at some point you permitted it.